I used to be a professional tarot reader. There are some excellent tarot readers out there. And I love the tarot. I really do. I personally don't pull cards anymore though, because it was feeding my anxiety. It was feeding a sense of worry and a sense of scarcity and lack. I think if you are in a situation where you're feeling insecure about something, you want to know about the future, you're feeling like you're lost in cycles of rumination and overwhelm, the tarot deck is just not the place to go, right? And, if you've been on your spiritual journey for a while, if you've been on a healing path, then you know consciously, like the tarot, anything outside of you, if you're constantly looking for signs, symbols, you're looking for the right moon phase, astrology, anything, it's only going to perpetuate this sense of like you're not enough, you don't have the resources within you, you need something outside of you to give you the strength. And that's really what was happening with me and the tarot. And the not so nice part is that I discovered this through my clients. I discovered this because I was attracting these client dynamics that were so unappealing to me, that were so off-putting. And yet we know, if you've been on your healing journey, if you're on a healing path, you know that everything in your life is a reflection of what's happening to you inside. I'm realizing the tarot was such an important part of my spiritual growth because I was able to really look into the deck and see the reflection of my client behavior in my own relationship to the tarot deck. I had some really sweet experiences. I had wonderful, respectful experiences, but I had a few experiences where my clients were kind of driving me bonkers. I had a 15-minute reading option, but this one woman would every week, she scheduled this 15-minute reading and it went for half an hour every time. And then I was learning from a mentor. I was asking them, like, how do we get out of the situation? And then in our conversations, we put aside an hour or 30 minutes. And like 3 hours later, it was like, oh, we're still talking. So there was like a general time boundary that I was not respecting in my client relationship, in my mentor relationship, and then with the tarot. So I used to love like getting up in the morning, drinking my tea, putting out a tarot spread, like, ooh, look at all these beautiful images, look at all this like channeled poetry, like feeling the signs, feeling the symbols, feeling like all of divinity was before me in this beautiful tarot spread. And it was so cozy and luscious. And I just wanted to be in that energy all the time. And this is where I lost the plot. I would be like, delicious tarot energy. You know what? Let's just smoke a little weed and stay in this energy. And next thing you know, it was 2 p.m. and I was crashing and I was still staring at those tarot cards or off in the distance because I was stoned out of my mind. And I was disappointed in myself. I was feeling like, well, there goes my day. It was interesting how tarot and weed would combine in these ways to really disrespect my own time boundaries. So that was one thing that was not right in my relationship to tarot. And then my husband and we had a roommate and we were going through a roommate breakup and it was not good. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was a bad situation and we were fleeing. We were getting out of there. And so I was asking the tarot, like, what's up? Where are we going to go? How are we going to go? And I would like see a listing on Zillow or Craigslist and I would be like, this is the one. Then I would go to my cards and be like, is this the one? Like, is this the one? Is this gonna? And so I was just using the tarot as this way to really like dig my claws into the anxiety and the like desire to just like cling to this feeling of safety that I felt was just, again, like not inside me, it was outside of me. I had this one client who would mirror this to me, and it took me some time to understand, oh, this is also my pattern, where she would, like, every card that I pulled, she'd be like, "Are you sure? Can you just pull another one? Can you just like pull another clarifying one?" And it got to the point where she would be texting me like hours after our reading, "Can you just pull a clarifying card?" Or like this other question came up around what we were talking about. Like, I don't know, I don't feel complete with it. Can you just pull another card? And at the time, actually, I felt like a certain sense of self-importance came from my reading ability as well, and like my capacity to channel. So I was like, oh, I have to give a good message, and I have to be really like profound, and I need to like, make myself available for this person to, give them what they need. And it's like, I can't give them what they need. Only they can give themselves what they need. Like, that's, I think, wow, as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing like the tarot is such a beautiful portal for me to connect with the reality that I am all I need. And the tarot was constantly reflecting to me the sense of frustration because I was looking to the tarot to give me what I needed. And so, yeah, so back to this client. This client would text me after our readings, like multiple times, like for, an hour or 2 hours, multiple days, be like, "Can you just pull clarifying card? Can you just pull clarifying card?" And I was just doing it. I was just doing it for free. I was like, oh, I really want this person to get the benefit. But it was not benefiting them. It was not benefiting me. I became resentful. And then at a certain point, I completely shut down my practice because I was like, this isn't working. I was just noticing that like all the people who I was surrounded with who were also doing tarot were like just not very fulfilled. And like the way I was learning to do it, like the business model was like very like fuck business. I think that at that time in my life, I really confused integrity with being against the system and like wanting a different world. And of course, like there are parts of me that still resonate with that. Like I really do believe that wealth is something that is meant to be shared, and that as more and more people learn about all these ways to earn money, to create money, to attract money, the concept of the 1% will eventually be irrelevant because we'll all have tons of money. Like it's not going to be a big deal. And also, I think there were parts of me and parts of the community that I was in that were still very attached to this idea that like money is bad. And so, yeah, that was like a part of why I felt it was important to overgive and to give my clients this perfect message and to hold the perfect space, because that was giving me my sense of self-worth. I wasn't allowing the money to be the energy exchange, and I wasn't allowing myself to close the container of the reading in a neat way, in an organized way. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with the 8 ball, and I was just constantly asking the 8 ball yes or no questions, and I was like not able to rely on my inner guidance as a consequence. And so for me, I know that sometimes the tarot can become like that. I know that if I were to get into the practice of pulling a card every week, it feels like it's this external thing that I have to carry around. It feels heavy, like I don't want to make space for it. I was having a hard time making space for it back then. And today, still, I'm like, I don't really want to make space for it. It'll just come when the time is right, when it's flowing. And I think if you are feeling like the tarot or like any form of divination is it's like a means to control your life, or a means to tell you what to do, what not to do, or it just feels like cumbersome and heavy, and you're not able to relate to it in a lighthearted way, like it's time to say goodbye to it, or at least like pause it for a moment and see what happens. And yeah, I'm definitely open to my relationship to the tarot changing. And I actually do still get my cards read from time to time. I had a good friend read my cards last year, and it was really gratifying and grounding. And I still think about those cards and the message of that reading, and it brings me a lot of peace. So I'm very grateful for it. I feel like it was a really beautiful gateway for me into deepening my spiritual journey because it I went from just having a really beautiful meditation practice to then counseling people in tarot sessions. And it was this amazing opportunity to understand spiritual experiences from perspectives that were not my own. And also to see how in the guide or coach client relationship, there is still mirroring happening, even if that's not what's at the center of the relationship. Tarot really opened me to astrology in a big way that has been more grounding and more nourishing in my spiritual practice. And I think that's partially because astrology is always happening, regardless of whether or not we're tuning into it. And with the tarot, there's this additional step of pulling the card and of, sitting with the deck and creating this special moment that's between you and the deck. And with astrology, is really interesting is all you need to know is the date and the time and the location. And then there's just it's constantly happening. The planets are moving, the earth is moving, we're constantly in relation to the cosmos. And I don't need to do anything special in the moment. It was through tarot that I decided to deepen my understanding of astrology because the archetypes in tarot are connected to the astrological archetypes as well. And right now, I'm open for astrological readings. I have a special going on where I'm supporting business owners on their business journey. So if you are a spiritual business owner, a coach, a shop owner, a service provider of any kind, and you have a strong spiritual guidance system, I would love to support you. I look at your birth chart and I look at your business and I help you align your energy and your focus by understanding what's happening for you astrologically and also understanding where you're at in your business. If you feel called to it, you can find my bookings page in the description. The business strategy session readings are a steep discount, so I'm doing a limited number of them at this price point, and then this price point's going way up because they are delivering a lot of value. And until next time, maybe I will share some thoughts on why I love astrology, what's so great about it, how it helps me, and how it provides a supportive framework for me in living life. So, yeah, until next time, thank you. Bye.